You're 11 years old, curled up on a straw mat in the burned out shell of what used to be your home, when a woman in white robes steps through the doorway. She smells like incense. She smiles like a mother, and her eyes are dead as winter water. She brushes the ash from your cheek and asks if you'd like to come somewhere warm. You haven't eaten in 3 days. Your parents are buried under the rice barn. You say yes. You don't know it yet, but you just signed your life away. Welcome to your life as a Kunoichi. The year is 1565. Sengok Japan is one giant open wound. Daimyo carving each other up over rice fields and salt roads. And you're one of the orphans the war coughed up by the thousands. The woman who took you, Lady Chiyome, says she runs a house for girls like you. A sanctuary, a mercy. The villagers nod and don't ask questions, because feeding starving girls is what holy women do. That's what she wants them to think. The cart ride to a mountain compound in Shinano province takes 4 days. 12 other girls in the back, all the same hollow stare. One is a war widow. One was a prostitute sold by her uncle. One won't say where she came from. Her name is Hana. You sleep against her shoulder because the nights are cold and the future is colder. You arrive at a compound tucked into the mountains. Gates of cedar, snow already on the rooftops. They give you white robes. They tell you you're going to be a Miko, a shrine maiden. You think it sounds beautiful, holy, safe. You're wrong about all three. By 12, you're memorizing prayers in the morning and learning to slit a goat's throat in the afternoon. The instructors are women in their 30s who never laugh. They teach you to walk silent on wood floors, to pour tea so your sleeve never trembles, to recite Shinto rituals so smooth a real priest would weep. They also teach you how to kill a man with a hairpin, where his neck goes soft, where the temples cave in, where the artery sits just under the jaw like a tripwire. Sounds glamorous, right? Wrong. It's 12 hours a day of bruises, sliced palms, and a bamboo rod across your shins every time your accent slips out of noble dialect. You bleed through your robes. You learn to bow while bleeding. By 13, you can mix poison from oleander root in the dark. You can identify 17 kinds of noblemen by the cut of their kimono. You can kneel for 6 hours without your legs going numb, because Chiyome made you do it every dawn for a year, and the alternative was a whip. You also learn the unspoken rule. You have no friends. The girls beside you are not sisters. They're competitors, and one day, one of them will be ordered to test if your cover holds, and she will not blink when she presses a blade to your throat. Hana whispers it to you one night in the dark. Don't cry when they send me, and I won't cry when they send you. You hold her hand under the blanket. You both pretend not to. By 14, they start sending you out on practice runs. Walk into a village, pose as a wandering priestess, listen for 3 days, bring back the name of every man who owns more than 10 horses. Get caught and don't come back, because Chiyome won't retrieve you. You never get caught. You're 16 when they hand you a scroll with a name on it. The name belongs to a minor lord in a province 3 weeks' walk away. He's plotting against the Takeda clan, your patron, the one whose silver feeds the compound. Your job is simple. Get inside his household, listen, confirm the plot, then, if the order comes, kill him. You walk into his castle town wearing white Miko robes, a wooden chest carried behind you by a porter, false bottom. Inside, crushed datura, 2 iron nekote claws wrapped in silk, and a hairpin sharpened to the width of a darning needle. The porter doesn't know. The porter never knows. You bless the Lord's wife. She weeps with gratitude. Within a month, you're a fixture in the household. The holy girl who sees omens, who sings the children to sleep, who pours sake at the Lord's elbow when his retainers come to whisper. You smile. You bow. You memorize every face, every name, every hushed word about troop movements, and which gate of which castle will be opened on which moon. The Lord notices you. Of course he does. They always do. He requests you for the night, and your stomach turns to ice. But you smile, because Chiyome trained you for this, because flinching is dying. You go in. The chamber smells of cedar smoke and old sake. He's already half drunk, sprawled on the silk, beckoning. You kneel beside him and pour a fresh cup, and your sleeves grazes the lacquered tray, and the powder you've been carrying for 3 weeks slides into the wine without a sound. He drinks. He laughs. He pulls you closer. You let him. You smile. You wait. 20 minutes in, his speech starts to slur. 40, and his eyes won't track your face. You feel his pulse stutter under your palm where it rests on his chest. And you count. Because Chiyome taught you to count. Because a Kunoichi who panics is a Kunoichi who leaves a mess. At 60, his breathing goes slow and shallow. You slide the hairpin from your hair. You find the soft spot behind his ear, just under the hairline, where the bone gives way to nothing. And then you push. A small, wet sound. A twitch. Nothing else. You come out. He does not. When the body is found in the morning, the household will say a sudden illness took him in his sleep. The toxin in the sake leaves no trace. The puncture behind his ear is the size of a sewing needle, hidden in the hairline, and no one will ever look. You walk out the side gate at dawn, white robes unstained, eyes lowered, a holy girl in mourning. The guards bow as you pass. You bow back. You vomit in the forest 2 miles later, hands shaking so hard you drop the hairpin twice trying to clean it. Then you bury the shaking, deep where it can't reach you, and you keep walking. By 17, you're Chiyome's top operative. By 18, you've killed 3 more men and seduced 2 who didn't need killing, just listening. One morning in Kai, you wake in a courtesan's room you don't remember falling asleep in. And you sit up, and you reach for the hairpin under the pillow before you reach for the lamp. The hairpin first, the light second. You sit there for a long minute, holding it in the dark, and you don't feel anything about it. Not pride, not shame, just the weight of metal. Familiar as a finger. That's when you know. You live a dozen lives. You're a fortune teller in Mikawa, a tea house girl in Kai, a courtesan in a Kyoto pleasure district where you pour wine for samurai who whisper troop counts between gulps. You sleep in silk 1 week and on dirt the next. You stop dreaming. You stop missing your village, your mother, the smell of your father's pipe, because dreaming and missing are luxuries that get a Kunoichi killed. Hana is sent to Owari province in the spring of 1568. She doesn't come back. 3 months later, a porter passing through the village mentions a wandering priestess found in a river, hairpin still in her hair, throat opened ear to ear. There are no funerals for Kunoichi. You scrub Hana's name off the wooden tablet in the shrine yourself, because that's the rule. And you don't cry, because that's the rule too. That night, alone in your cell, you bite your sleeve until you taste blood. And you make a sound no one hears. You're 23 when they send you against a man who has handlers of his own. The mission looks like the others. Infiltrate, listen, wait for the kill order. You take your place in the household of a Hojo retainer in eastern Japan, a colder, grayer country, the kind where the wind carries salt off the sea and into your lungs. You charm him. You learn his routine. You wait. Then, a maid you've worked beside for 2 months pulls you aside in the laundry yard and whispers, in flawless Iga dialect, that she knows what you are. She is not your friend. She's not your sister. She is a Hojo Kunoichi, and she has been watching you for 6 weeks, and the order has just come down. Run or fight. Your hand is moving before your mind catches up. The hairpin slides out of your hair. 2 iron claws snap onto your fingers from your sleep, and the laundry yard becomes a blur of white robes and red linen and a single, short, wet sound. Her eyes go wide. Yours don't. You run for 9 days, eating roots, sleeping in caves, doubling back to throw off pursuit. By the time you reach a Takeda outpost, your feet are black with frostbite. Your robes are rags, and your face is a mask carved from someone you don't recognize anymore. Lady Chiyome receives you in silence. She nods once. She gives you tea. She tells you to rest for a week. And then she gives you a new name and sends you to Mikawa. There is no celebration. There is no thank you. There's only the next mission. The Takeda clan begins to fall apart in 1582. Your patron, the man whose silver feeds the compound, dies. And the network Chiyome built starts to fracture like ice on a thawing river. You're 28. You killed 11 men. You've buried Hana and 4 others in your memory, and your knees ache from a decade of kneeling on cold floors. Your final assignment is the Tokugawa border. You don't know it's your final assignment. You never do. You're 3 days into the cover, a wandering Miko blessing a village shrine, when a farmer recognizes the sandals of your dead handler in your pack. He shouts. The militia comes, and you run for the tree line, hairpin already in your hand, and you almost make it. The arrow goes through your back below the left shoulder. You feel it before you hear it. Your knees hit the dirt. The nekote slip out of your sleeve and clatter onto the road, two small iron claws gleaming in the afternoon sun. You think of Hana. You think of the woman who pulled you off the straw mat when you were 11. The one who smelled like incense and smiled like a mother. You think she should have left you there. The second arrow takes you inside. You don't feel the third. The villagers find white robes, two iron claws, and a hairpin sharpened to the width of a darning needle. No one ever learns your name. You buried it yourself years ago in a forest 2 miles from a dead lord's castle. Lady Chiyome will scrub a wooden tablet clean in a shrine far away and assign your cover identity to a younger girl, a 16-year-old with a hollow stare on her first mission. You were a shadow in white. You were a hairpin in the dark. You were the blade. She polished the man who carried one. Click the card to watch your life as a samurai's wife.